to some more Marvel movies as we are here on Nerdvana on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. We talked about Iron Man. We talked about The Incredible Hulk. You want to touch upon the Iron Man sequels real quick? Iron Man 2 wasn't a big fan of when I saw it in theaters. I was actually very disappointed. I got to see it a couple nights before it was released because I worked at a movie theater at the time, and definitely a big disappointment. And Iron Man 3, kind of the same thing. Didn't really care for the direction that they were going in. And I really do like the director of the movie, Shane Black, but it's unfortunate that I think Iron Man really works well when he's with other heroes. Any thoughts on the Iron Man sequels?
Yes. Iron Man 2 was definitely, as far as sequels go, it was the best sequel. Iron Man 3 was just a tragedy. It just didn't need to happen. What did you think about the Captain America sequels?
I thought they're amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't know what happened with Iron Man. He's definitely a side character in the entire broad MCU. I think he's an excellent side character.
Iron Man?
He can't be the focus of the movie.
Iron Man?
I don't agree with that.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying Iron Man?
Well, because in the Avengers movies, he's not the focus. He's one of the focuses. He's not the focus. You know
I think he's one of the most interesting characters in the franchise.
Of course he's one of the most interesting characters in the franchise. But people have roles in movies, characters have roles. I think Captain America takes over the mantle of the lead in the movie very well. And Iron Man is definitely like the antithesis lead, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
What do you mean by antithesis lead?
What I'm trying to say is when the Iron Man 1 movie was great.
Yeah.
Then all the movies after it where it was just him, no, not that great,
Yeah, but I don't think that has to do with Iron Man per se. I think he's one of the best characters, if not the best character in this whole thing.
He has to have a bunch of other characters in the movie to support
I don't think that hurts for sure. I don't disagree with that.
I disagree with you. I think the more characters in his movies, the worse that the Iron Man movies were. Look at Iron Man 2. They included Nick Fury. They included was that 2, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yes, they included Black Widow. They included his rival gun dealer. They included what's his name? Mickey Rourke. They included a ton of side stories and a ton of side characters and side plots. And you guys are saying you don't like it. Iron Man 1, you guys both just agreed. We all unanimously agreed. It was great. It was enjoyable. It was really good. And what was it? Iron Man, bad guy. Those are the two central parts. There wasn't S.H.I.E.L.D. There wasn't we're forming something. There wasn't a bigger motive. It was just Iron Man. So I feel like Iron Man, now that as a character, he's a human. He's a human being in a world full of, in a universe full of non-human beings. So it's almost impossible for him now, nowadays at least, to be larger than life. Whereas in the first movie, you didn't know what we were expecting going into the future. We didn't expect Thor to be Thor or Captain America to be bulletproof and amazing. We just saw Iron Man. We're like, this guy's awesome. He was captured by terrorists. He built a giant machine of destruction on his own, barely alive. This guy is awesome, the badass. Now you look at Captain America and you're like, this guy, he was killing Nazis. He was all over the world destroying people. You look at Thor, who can fly between dimensions and with his super hammer beat people into another universe, These are two characters now you have to compare to Iron Man, and it's hard. You can't really compare the three of them. In a battle, they had a battle in the first Avengers movie, and clearly you could tell it's a draw between them only because Iron Man gets lucky every time. He's not a hero where you can compare or you can't stack him with other heroes. Because once you do, you find out, like Batman and DC, he's a dude. It just takes one straight bullet while he's not wearing armor and he's done. It just takes one really bad explosion and, he's crippled like War Machine in Civil War. It's one of those things where now we got to a point where we're like, wow, superheroes are the best because they're super. Then you put a regular guy whose only power is he's a billionaire It's really, really hard. And I think Iron Man is a kind of character that they've created perfectly. They haven't made him super. They've left him as a billionaire. Whereas when you look
to be fair, that is the best superpower.
It is, yeah, well, it's the best one that's achievable. I'm not jumping in a pool of radiation anytime soon to try that out. But, you know, when you look at, like, Batman, they made Batman this guy who's, like, he's traveled the world, and he's become, like, the martial arts supreme, you know? He's beat Ra's al Ghul. He's beat the best of martial artists and the best of fighters around the world. What is Iron Man? Oh, yeah, he's just some brat whose parents died, and he just went, all right, let me squander their billions of dollars on making myself fancy suits. That's literally all Iron Man brings to the table, which you very much quickly pick up on in Iron Man 1. So there's really not that much character development, I feel like, in 2 and 3, because there isn't really much else to develop.
I think it's poor direction. I think it's poor just execution. I don't think it has anything to do with the cast or the acting or the character itself. I think, you know, if given the right director, Iron Man by himself can be an awesome character. Yeah. And I think out of the original movies, Captain America: First Avenger is pretty. I like the beginning half. I don't like the second half at all. Thor, you know, it's pretty fun. Incredible Hulk, you know, average at best. I think Iron Man, the original one, is the best one of these original ones. Now, if we're talking about ensemble cast, I think the best original one would have to go to Guardians of the Galaxy. I think that's one of Marvel's best movies, the original Guardians of the Galaxy. But let's move to the actual, you know, bring together of these characters with the original Avengers film, which came out 6 years ago, and this was probably...
Dude, that hurts me.
This is one of the best comic book movies ever.
Yeah, hands down. This was almost not flawless comic book movie, but
almost
as close as you could just about get. There wasn't too much comedy, there wasn't too much seriousness. The movie knew what it was and what it was doing. It's just it's not flawless, but it is perfect in my book. It is perfect. Just the way it all meshed, and even some of the blunders kind of go with it. I think it's just good. It's just an awesome movie to watch. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, go watch it like 5 times in a row.
Some really good action scene in this movie, and Mark Ruffalo being introduced as the Hulk, I think he did the best job. There's a guy whose movies, you know, the singular Hulk movies just weren't really anything special, whether it's Ang Lee's directed Hulk or the one that's part of the cinematic universe, The Incredible Hulk. I like these like movies when they have sort of two characters teaming up, whether it's the Hulk and Iron Man, Hulk and Thor in the latest Thor movie, which I thought was one of the best movies on this list, if not the best one. And I liked Spider-Man and Iron Man's little dynamic from Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought that was some real good stuff. And I think that's another thing I'd like to see more often, especially if Fox can get Disney can get the rights to all these Fox things. I'd like to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. I know he's not going to do it, but
he said
World War II movie.
He said he said he would return. I know it was before Logan, but they said if you were to be brought in as Wolverine to the MCU for whatever it is, 1 movie or 2 movies, would you do it? And he said that he'd absolutely come back just to be part of it, even if it was just for a movie. He would want to be part of this.
I think that's something fans would love to see.
Especially since the X-Men movies kind of started all this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, that was the first real big Marvel movie. I mean, there was Blade a few years before that, but that was more of an R-rated kind of underground film, whereas the original X-Men from the year 2000, that was a huge hit. And then after that, obviously, Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, the X-Men sequels, even the Fantastic Four movies, which are awful, made a ton of money.
Yeah, the first Fantastic Four wasn't terrible.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
It wasn't super bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's bad, but it's not like super bad.
I don't know, man.
It's not like the Fantastic Four remake bad.
Yeah, that was really bad.
That was really
that
really
movie
bad.
was ashamed to be a Fantastic Four movie, whereas they don't even say the name Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, what are we? I guess we're fantastic. And then it like cuts to the screen and says Fantastic Four. That's how the movie ends. Terrible movie. But that was kind of done. A lot of studio interference. I heard the director of the movie, Josh Trank, I believe that was his name, or is his name. He's not dead. I think he had a different vision, and then the 20th Century Fox kind of took over and made it the movie that we got, which is unfortunate.
Which also Michael B. Jordan's in that movie.
Yes.
Which I think that might be. He doesn't want to be known for that.
No.
He's going to be in a new movie, Fahrenheit 250 or 451 on HBO, which looks insane with Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon's insane, so...
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Anyway,
Michael B. Jordan's great. He's probably the best villain, if not, top 3 from this Marvel Cinematic Universe. Can you think of any other villains that top him? I would think Loki would be up there, if not number 1.
But Loki's not really a supervillain anymore.
Well, he was.
When he was supervillain... No, I don't think so, because I think he's too flawed. I think Michael B. Jordan was legitimately a villain. I think Red Skull is also a very good villain.
I love Hugo Weaving, and I didn't care for that Captain America movie that much, to be honest. I like the first half when he's Steve Rogers and his whole transformation into Captain America. But once he puts on the suit and goes into combat, it's kind of like a montage scene that it's just all over the place. Not really a fan of it.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd love to see Red Skull come back, with Hugo Weaving also coming back.
He does not want to do it.
He doesn't?
He apparently hated doing that role. He hated the makeup. He hated everything about it. Which is unfortunate.
That's ridiculous.
Because Red Skull is one of the biggest Marvel villains. The problem is a lot of the biggest Marvel villains are owned by 20th Century Fox. Doctor Doom is the biggest Marvel villain ever. He's owned by it. All of Spider-Man's villains aren't owned by Fox. They're owned by Sony. But I don't know what the deal is now.
Sony's working deals out with Marvel per superhero villain and per story for Spider-Man.
So essentially, this just becomes a game for Disney to wrap up all of the loose ties.
Money game. It's a money game. They're just bouncing money around, trying to get as many more of the IPs. The next big one for them is they have to get Hulk. They don't own Hulk. I think it's Universal owns the Hulk movies. How did they even get that? How did they get that?
Well, years ago, the original Ang Lee movie is a Universal film.
Was the new one? That wasn't.
It was probably, I don't know.
It might have been a collaboration.
Did they make a Spider-Man kind of deal for one movie?
They might have. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
It's just weird. And then it's just like they have the Hulk movies and they haven't done anything with them.
I was thinking about this the other day. Speaking of Hulk, what do you think? Let's put a perfect world where MCU gets everything back from all these different businesses, and we get the Hulk movies again. How do you think they would do a Planet Hulk movie?
They kind of have.
Yeah,
already.
and it's kind of the Thor movie
that's
that came out.
Kind of Thor Ragnarok.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Did you see Thor Ragnarok?
No, I didn't get to see it. So.
It's pretty much like that. The Planet Hulk movie.
Please go see it.
Really?
Yeah, that was that's probably my favorite of these Marvel Cinematic Universe films. Is the latest Thor movie.
Yeah, I would probably put that right up there for me. I think Black Panther comes pretty close, honestly. I loved Black Panther, but also...
Black Panther was overhyped.
No.
I'm going to say it right now. It was way overhyped. It was a great movie. It was incredible, but it did not deserve the hype that it got.
It got the wrong type of hype.
Yes, that's what I mean.
That's what you're meaning.
It got the wrong type of hype.
It got the wrong type of hype, because I'm going to say it, that's not the first black superhero. Blade was. And everyone needs to remember that. In the 90s, Blade is a Marvel superhero.
Yeah, I mean, there were some black superhero movies even before then.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, but Meteor Man.
But Blade made a ton of money. How did anyone forget that? How do you forget Blade? I get Marvel branding it that way, because why not,
Well, it's just the first one in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Blade wasn't part of that universe.
I guess, but still, everyone on the internet stuff was like, oh, it's the first...
People on the internet are stupid.
I know. It's just get over it.
Yeah, it's just...
What are you forgetting? Does Blade not count anymore?
I'll take Blade over Black Panther any day. I would
Blade.
Too.
I think Blade's the best. Blade's awesome. I don't think he would stack up to my favorite, the Punisher, but... He comes pretty close.
Very few people can stack up to the Punisher.
Blade's close, though. Blade is very close.
I think Blade could take the Punisher in a straight-up fight.
In a straight-up fight, probably, because the Blade's a vampire.
Half man, half vampire.
Yeah, half vampire.
His mother was bitten by a vampire when she was pregnant.
Right.
When she gave birth.
So being half vampire probably gives him the edge.
Well, he's got, the strength,
That's what I'm saying. But I think...
Essentially, he's got everything good about a vampire. Nothing bad about it.
Yeah. Whereas the Punisher is just straight dude. So... You never know, though. If you back a guy into a corner.
He's got plot armor. He's got plot armor for days, man.
Yes and no, because the Punisher's kind of like Spider-Man. Punishers die. Frank Castle dies eventually, and someone else will take over. Like, there's been a couple Punishers, just like there's been like 2